Some say Pikmin 2 is the worst Pikmin game. Others say it's the best Pikmin game. But did we ever stop to question if it's even a good sequel? Until we answer that question, this game's going in purgatory.
Bye-bye!
What makes for a good sequel? Most would say that a good sequel follows in the footsteps of the original game while improving on it in many aspects and adding new concepts. Now, Pikmin 2 does both of these things, but the answer to our question is a bit more complicated than that. Pikmin 2 begins right where Pikmin 1 left off. Olimar is now heading home back to Hokotade after repairing the dolphin and putting the Pikmin behind him. After he arrives, we found out that our idiot coworker, Louie, let a space bunny eat his golden Pikmin carrots. So now Hokotade is in massive debt. The president also sells the SS Dolphin right off the bat. So long, soldier. Olimar decides to break canon here and gives the president a bottle cap from his Luigi-sized pockets. Where was this in the first game? Olimar clearly has his post-apocalyptic franchises confused here. That bottle cap isn't worth anything. Apparently it is worth something. I guess Fallout was right. The president decides to send Olimar and Louie back to the Pikmin planet to collect treasures and repay their debt. Back to adventure. So immediately we've been hit with tons of world building and more exposition than we ever saw on Pikmin 1. We meet 3 characters as well in the president, Louie, and the Hokotade ship. It doesn't end there either, as the nightly journal entries from Olimar have been replaced by emails from various characters. We talk to the president, his wife, Louie's family, Olimar's family, lonely singles in our area. You heard that right. Yeah. These emails give us so much lore about our characters and their backgrounds. It's really interesting stuff. The same goes for the Picklepedia. In the first game we had the enemy reel, but this is so much more robust. There's insane levels of detail for every enemy, treasure, and other objects in the game. While Olimar writes scientific notes, Louie writes about how to cook the specimen to perfection.
Sauce?
The gameplay in Pikmin 2 is its secret sauce. Foundationally, it's the same as Pikmin 1, but it's built upon itself so much. Instead of collecting ship parts, we're collecting real-life objects. Or at least we were until the Switch version came out. The treasures are probably the best part of the game. It's so fun to see recognizable brands everywhere you look, and it's one of the only examples of product placement I've seen that genuinely feels like a novelty. I said in my Pikmin 1 video that the yellows felt like a beta Pikmin, but they feel fully fleshed out this time around. Along with fire and water hazards, the game introduces 2 new types of hazards: electricity and poison. Now, electricity works differently than the other hazards, because instead of whistling your Pikmin to save them, if they make contact, it's insta-kill, which feels a little broken and can really screw you over sometimes. Before we go over poison, we have to talk about the 3 new types of Pikmin introduced in this game. First, we have white Pikmin. These little guys are invincible to poison and can even poison enemies if eaten. Second, we have purple Pikmin. These guys are infamous for how broken they are in this game. They're not resistant to any hazards, but they sure pack a punch. Lastly, we have Bulbmin. Only found in caves, these guys are invincible to every hazard, but they can't leave caves, so that's your trade-off. Another addition to the gameplay is your secondary captains, Louie and the President. I will say the multi-captain puzzles don't feel as fleshed out in this game as we'll later see in Pikmin 3, but it's fantastic to have a second captain in the first place. They also updated the character icons for the Switch release. Look at their tiny little baby arms. Little baby arms. One of my favorite parts about the Pikmin series is, well, practicing Dandori. Replaying the games and getting to improve my times each time around is one of my favorite parts of the Pikmin series, and it's probably the main draw hands down in my opinion. And having multiple captains really helps out with that process. The new Pikmin and gameplay mechanics feel like perfectly natural extensions of the first games, which leads into what I believe is the main strength of this game: natural world building. There's nothing in Pikmin 2 that feels like it couldn't have existed in Pikmin 1, which feels like a basic requirement for a sequel, but I'm gonna give it points for it anyway. So you're probably wondering by now how I haven't mentioned caves yet, and that's because they're my main critique of the game. Now before y'all riot, I do like the caves a lot actually, but I think they have some issues. Mainly the difficulty spikes and excessive trolling they can have. It was funny the first time a bomb dropped from the ceiling, but not the 20th time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice? I'm writing a video about you. Pikmin 1 definitely had its difficulty spikes, but there was no trolling or anything that really felt unfair in my experience. If we look at Pikmin 2 through a vacuum, I think the trolling in caves is fun, mostly, as long as you're friendly with that reset button. But when evaluating it as a sequel, I have to knock it for that. So after all that, is Pikmin 2 a good sequel? Well, it certainly has all the marks of one. It took the original game and built upon it in so many aspects, making it better than ever. It has its quirks, but honestly I think I prefer it to Pikmin 1. I love the way it adds to the lore and makes us ask so many questions. Where did the humans go? What is the Water Wraith? How is Olimar allowed to drive a spaceship? So many questions to be answered, but not by Nintendo, but by fans like you. I love the conversations that these games can create, and it's one of my favorite parts of the series. So yeah, I do think Pikmin 2 is a good sequel. An amazing one even. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm an idiot? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you later. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Pikmin 2.